I was fortunate enough to grow up in Louisville, Kentucky, and the thing to do in Louisville was to take riding lessons, and it was all saddle seat on saddlebred horses. So that's why I started the way I did. My parents were not interested in horses. They were very supportive of me, but they personally had no horse interest whatsoever, so it was a bit of a struggle. They joined the country club and wanted me to play bridge and swim and play tennis and play golf. I really didn't want to do any of that. They took a lot of family trips every summer. They would go somewhere. Daddy was a circuit court judge, so he had 3 months off in the summer, and they would travel all over the place. And finally they thought if they would go to Hawaii, I would really want to go with them. Well, I really didn't. And so I went to Annie Lawson Cowgill's summer school of horsemanship up in Milan, Missouri, way up north. And I went there every summer for 7 summers, first as a student and then later on as an assistant instructor to her. And they thought I would want to go to Hawaii instead of going back to Annie's, but no, at the last minute I bolted and went to Annie's, and they went to Hawaii without me. And then I went to Stevens College because when I was a little kid, Mother and Daddy were having a cocktail party, and one of the guests, trying to be friendly to the host and hostess's daughter, said, "Where do you want to go to college when you grow up?" And I was 10 or 11, I don't know, I was young and I hardly knew what college was. And I said, "Oh no." And he said, "You should go to Stevens, they have horses." And I said, "Oh, okay." And from then on out, anytime anybody mentioned college, I was going to Stevens. And when I was a senior in high school and it was time to really think about going to college, I said, "It's the only place I want to go." And Mother and Daddy made me look a few other places, but Stevens was first choice, and that's where I went. So I was there for 4 years. It was a 2-year school when I first went there, and there were several of us that loved it so much, we said, "We're not leaving, you have to make it a 4-year school," and they did. So I was the first graduating class of a 4-year school at Stevens, and then I came directly to William Woods to teach. And I was the first person that Dean Clifford Shipp hired. He had just become dean, and Annie Cowgill recommended me. She was a consultant for the program here. Dot Backer was the full-time instructor here. She recommended me, and back then I didn't have a resume or anything. I just walked into his office, talked to him for a few minutes, and he said, "Well, the 2 people that I know about horses, that I know who know about horses, recommended you, so I guess we'll just hire you. You're hired." It was that easy. Little did he know, or little did I know, that 43 years later, I'd still be here. Growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, there were many, many great horse trainers there. I rode first at Brown's Riding Academy, took beginner lessons. Then I rode at Hillbrook, where we just had pleasure horses and kind of trained our own horses. Then I went to Rock Creek Riding Club, where Jim B. Robertson was the trainer. His son Jimmy Robertson now is a prominent trainer in Kentucky. So I learned a lot by osmosis, just by seeing. I didn't have a show horse, but I got to see the horses being trained, and there were a lot of really top-notch amateur riders that were there at Rock Creek. I also got to go to Crabtree's and watch Helen Crabtree give lessons. She was very nice about letting me just sit in her booth and watch. Annie Cowgill, where I went to the summer school of horsemanship, taught me a lot. Eddie and Audrey Guttridge. Eddie trained a few horses at Rock Creek while I was there. Audrey was the secretary for the Kentucky State Fair Horse Show, and those 2 people helped me as much as anybody. Audrey and Lloyd Teeter really started the first public training barn as we know it today. She was with Lloyd for many, many years in the Chicago area. And then she and Eddie got married, and they were both absolutely wonderful to me. There was nobody who loved the horse business more than Audrey Pugh Guttridge. She just cared so much about the people and the horses, and she taught me so much about what had gone on when I was too young to know what was going on. She gave me a lot of the history of the saddlebred business. And Eddie shared a lot of training techniques with me, gave me a lot of equipment to use when I got my job at William Woods, a bidding rig, and he's the first one that taught me how to shackle a horse, a lot of things like that. Then Frank McConnell was very helpful to me in training a Morgan Park horse, Zephyr's King Marl. He belonged to the college, and Frank helped me with him so that I could then help the students with him. Mike Roberts is the trainer that I have my horses with. He has been wonderful and worked with me and my horses. And many, many more. That's just to name a few. It gives me a thrill to help someone else enjoy horses. I love riding more than anything else. It is my exercise. And I just love the thrill that people get when they discover something about riding and the light bulb comes on and they've learned something. Well, Susan is one of our William Woods graduates, so I was, very happy to support her endeavor. And again, it's teaching. It's just a little different method of teaching, and I certainly prefer hands-on, actually seeing somebody in real life on a real horse. But this is the next best thing, so I've enjoyed my experience with it so far. I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world to have had the opportunity to ride so many William Woods horses over the years, because these horses that are donated to William Woods are wonderful, wonderful horses. And they come in many sizes, shapes, temperaments, and if you can learn to ride every horse that is here on this campus, you can ride just about every horse, because William Woods offers a complete diversity of horses. And then I've just been the luckiest person in the world to have as my own horse Callaway's Born to Win. And he is the best thinking, most honest, kind, willing to do what you want him to do horse in the whole wide world. And who would have thought that I could buy a 10-year-old horse and be able to show him for 10 seasons. And I could show him again, but I think we've done enough showing. He's 20, and I still ride him. He's still sound, totally healthy, could go to the show ring tomorrow, but we probably won't do that. I have a 3-year-old, and I probably need to do something with that horse. And then the judging is another aspect of my life that I really enjoy, and it's taken me to South Africa 3 times, to Australia, Canada numerous times, England 3 or 4 times, and the opportunity to go anywhere in the world and meet people that have something in common with you is an amazing experience. To go as far away as Australia and feel totally at home because you share the interest in horses with the people that are there.